But first things first, this morning we're going to get into our top story, bringing on Mark Solomon to talk a little bit about what's going on with UPS, planning to lay off 12,000 and possibly sell its brokerage unit as well. Mark, this news comes on the heels of UPS's earnings release. Talk to us a little bit about some of the numbers first. What was so bad that it could lead to UPS making this decision?
Good morning, Kaylee. The numbers were expected to be weak, and they were. The company reported declines in revenue and operating income across its three main units: domestic package, international package, and supply chain solutions. The positive news is that the numbers sequentially, the fourth quarter numbers, were better than the third quarter numbers, which were considered or have been considered a low water mark for the company. They pulled through a lot more packages in the fourth quarter than they did in the third quarter. It was a significant ramp up in domestic, but through, it was just a difficult year for the company. They were faced with flat growth, increased competition, concerns about a labor contract that eventually got signed, but a lot of business was diverted as a result of shipper concerns about the outcome. This weakness will continue definitely in the first quarter where we are right now. It's not expected to be good. The first half will experience contraction. The company is confident that the second half will show both volume and margin expansion, particularly as the inflationary costs of the labor contract begin to abate.
So we've got our lower third down there talking about layoff 12,000, possibly sell brokerage. And let's start with the layoffs. When it comes to those job cuts, where do we think what units are going to be affected by that? We know that part of their Fit to Serve initiative is something they're still continuing to try and work on.
At this point, Kaylee, we don't know where the layoffs will occur. We do know they will be in management. There'll be full-time jobs cut, part-time jobs cut, probably contractor positions will be eliminated, and those people will part ways with the company. This will not touch the union. Organized labor will not be affected by this. And again, it's as the company said yesterday, it's a new way of doing business. Many managers will not be needed. We don't know, like I said, where they will be removed from. The company expects to save $1 billion this year as a result of this, and they will continue to generate savings into 2025, so they say. It's 85,000 full and part-time managers at the company. So if you take 12,000 off, you can do the math. It's a fairly decent headcount reduction given where it's aimed.
So now moving on to that potential sale of the brokerage unit. Coyote Logistics was acquired back in 2015. It was a pretty big purchase for UPS, and now seeing down the road about 8 years later, obviously it's been a bit of a drag, specifically in 2023 on their business unit. Talk to us about the plans to sell. Is it possible that they could even get back anywhere close to what they paid for it?
At this point, they're not sure if they will sell it or they will try to operate it with lower overhead. They are exploring strategic alternatives that can be code for putting it up for sale. Clearly, the company is not satisfied with the volatility of both top and bottom line results of Coyote. They have not been... It's just been a lot of up and down, and I don't know if the company feels the need to have a truckload business at all anymore. So at this point, it's in the exploration phase, but it's if you listen to Carol Tomei's comments on yesterday's analyst call, clearly the pattern of top and bottom line activity at Coyote is something that UPS, I believe, has grown tired of.
We know that, of course, they went through several rounds of layoffs over the last year or so, and I don't believe we have the total number of folks affected, but can we assume that there's going to be some more layoffs potentially coming to that brokerage unit as well?
I don't have an answer. There were layoffs announced earlier this month. I believe this was the fourth. I could be wrong on this, but I believe this was the fourth layoff since the beginning of 2023. It's a struggling business, and it's a struggling segment of transportation. And 3 years ago, UPS looked at their LTL business and said, "We don't want this anymore," and so they sold it. And if I were a betting man, Kaylee, I would say that the same mindset at UPS corporate will apply to Coyote. I don't know if it's a business they really want to be in anymore. But only time will tell us whether they try to sell it or try to keep it in and modify the operation in some way to make it more palatable to the overall business. Again, it's one part of one of the units. It's not, it's not a major part of UPS. It's an important player, but UPS is a massive company, and this is one part of one unit.
So, Mark, really quickly, just to wrap it up before we let you go, forecast for 2024, any indication in the analyst call what Carol Tomé and leadership was expecting for financial performance, better, worse, or about the same?
It's going to be a second half story into 2025, Kaylee. It's first half will be contraction, second half margin, and some level of volume expansion, but you're probably looking at 1 to 2% volume growth in the U.S. market, maybe 0 to 3% in the international market. It's still a flat demand situation, could be that way through the rest of this year and into next year. There's a lot of competition. This is not a duopoly anymore with FedEx and UPS. There's any number of players, and it's, UPS and FedEx are in a tough situation where if they want to recapture business or grab market share, they might have to do it at lower price points, which is going to impact margins. So the volume situation is going to be problematic probably through the rest of this year.
Those regional parcel carriers may be looking like it's their time to shine. Mark Solomon, thank you for joining us this morning with this news, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Kaylee. Have a good day.
All right, and if you want more details on that story, head on over to freightwaves.com. Check it out, one of our top stories right now. We're going to go on